They say kids say the darndest things. Well, let me tell you, these adults do the darndest things. They get married at first sight to strangers they've never met before they see each other for the first time at the altar. Stay tuned. We're reviewing Married at First Sight. Hi there, Simpli Stubbies. Welcome back. We are doing Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode number 2. We have 2 weddings and a tea ceremony. Let's get to it. Okay, so last week, Bao and Johnny got married, and they had a lovely wedding. And they're going to be doing their tea ceremony this episode. But before they do, we have to get to Michaela and Zach. So Michaela and Zach are getting married this week. They did all their shopping and everything for the dress. She's happy, but her dad cannot be there, and she's super sad about that. She's talking to her sisters. He passed away. He was hit by a drunk driver, which is so sad, and he will not be there to walk her down the aisle. Her brother-in-law actually does walk her down the aisle. She is 30 and her betrothed. Her husband is 27, Zach is, and he wants this to be his first and his last time falling in love. Remember, he has never been in love. I don't even think he's ever been in a relationship. Can't quite recall that, but at 27, he's never been in love before. So I don't know if that's a red flag, but he says he's real picky. So I'm like, Lord, please let them like each other, like have some chemistry, have some, attraction, because this could go really left. So basically her sisters are saying, you could be a hurricane. And when you get mad, it could be kind of crazy, and you're really stubborn, and you need to work on that. So Michaela is known as the stubborn sweetheart. She's a realtor, and they give her something blue, and it is actually like a Star Trek model set. And so it's blue, and their father was a Trekkie, they said. And, she cries, they tear up. I'm like, Lord, y'all couldn't have gave her this before she got her makeup done? Like, she is looking cute, gorgeous, got her makeup all done. Honey, she is ruining it with the tears. It is such a sad moment. She said that her dad was hardworking, and, that's what she wants in her husband. Next is Zach. So Zach's mom was the one who was like, I don't want you out here marrying a stranger or random. I think that's the word she used. I don't want you out here marrying a random. But anyway, she has apparently come around. She's encouraging. Soon as Zach walks down, he goes over and introduces himself to Michaela's mom, which is a sweet gesture. Her brother-in-law walks her down the aisle, and as they're walking in, they both smile super big. So I'm like, okay, they like each other. Like, this is a good sign. When she gets up to the front, he's like, you're gorgeous. And basically, she says you're gorgeous, I believe. And he says it back to her too. And she's like, they exchange names. And she's like, do you want to Zachary Jr.? I'm like, girl, slow your roll. So she definitely finds this man attractive. She already talking about kids, honey. They ain't even got married, said yes, and barely know each other. How they do it is at the ceremonies, the family and friends of Michaela want you, Zach, to know. And then they list out all these things they want them to know. I think they did call her stubborn, but that she's a sweetheart. She wears her heart on her sleeves. And he's like, okay, cool. And then when it was his turn, his family and friends, they want Michaela to know that Zachary is a modern-day Renaissance man, and he is adventurous, and he is a fierce soul, I believe they said, something to that nature. Anyway, they write their own vows. So Zachary's vows are super deep and detailed and heartfelt. I think he even memorized them, and you can see Michaela wants to like tear up, and he says, "My wife is gorgeous," and yeah, they say their I do's. She want to kiss him beforehand, and like it ain't time. She was funny. She had like little comic relief moments throughout, joking and whatnot throughout, and playing it up for the crowd, and they all enjoyed it. So afterwards, they finally get a chance to like meet each other. They chat for a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, they say you're a Renaissance man. Like, what is it? What do they mean by that?" He was like, "Yeah, my dad taught me and my brothers how to crochet and make lotion to sell when we were kids." And she was like, "Okay, that's strange." He was like, I can still crochet, but I don't do it anymore." Yeah, and then they take pictures. They look very comfortable. So this is the strangest part. It could be super strange, especially like it's a stranger you don't know. So with Val and Johnny, they knew each other. They knew of each other. So it wasn't as awkward for them because they did have some familiarity. But it didn't stop Michaela and Zachary. They were attracted to one another. And so they looked like they just, their kids would be like, "Oh, our parents knew each other" in the pictures because they looked like they knew each other and they've been in love for a while. Okay, so now we're on to Val and Johnny. They were both unknowingly planning a traditional Vietnamese tea party or tea ceremony for their weddings. And she says it was just meant to be. They've known each other since college. They're comfortable with one another. And she says that she could have sex with him just by looking at him. So I guess they have chemistry. And Johnny was not a bad choice. They actually have their tea ceremony. They are both wearing red or wine and gold, which again, she's like, "Oh, I didn't know. Look, we're matching." And he's like, "Yeah, I asked for wine and gold." She's like, "Did I ask for red and gold?" So they are matching again. I just think they have a lot in common. I hope this really works out for them. He's OCD. She used spreadsheets for everything, and she seems very high strung. She's a researcher. But I think together, and they know each other. That's the part I keep coming back to. It's like they know of each other. They both were presidents of the Vietnamese clubs at their respective colleges. And they said they did like events together and stuff like that. So hopefully it was nothing like too bad where they didn't get along. It doesn't sound like it was. He's attracted to her. And they're comfortable with one another. At the reception, she says he's handsome. And he said he wanted a wife and he wanted to start a family. This is where they're doing their first dance. Because after the tea ceremony, they do go back to their traditional, not traditional, but Americanized white gown and him in his suit or tux. And they do the reception. And basically, he says he wants to be respectful, but he wants to make out with his wife. That's kind of cute. Next up is Gil and Mirla. I was saying her name wrong. I think it's Mirla. And Gil is a firefighter, and he's tall, dark, handsome, and bald, and not bearded. And then Mirla is, and he's from Colombia. Mirla is his betrothed or his fiance, and basically they're shopping for their attire. She's like super picky. Like her bridesmaids are trying to show her stuff. She's like, "I want sleeves. I want this. I want sheer. I want that." So basically she didn't want to try anything other than what she had in her head. They're like picking stuff. He's with his guys. He's like, "Oh, I want something kind of traditional. I want to clash with her. I think like cream would be cool or ivory or something. Champagne." I think that's what he picked. Champagne. And she finally finds her dress. It's exactly what she wanted. Long sleeves. It's sheer, deep V, kind of sweetheart. It's very sexy. I'm going to say that. But now mind you guys, she was the one saying she wasn't going to kiss her husband on her wedding day. She didn't know him. She didn't want to kiss him. I'm like, but you giving oozing sex in this dress, but you only want to give him a kiss at the altar on your wedding day. And you marrying this man, you want to give him a kiss on it. Like, make it make sense, Mirla. So he's talking to his guys, and he's like, as long as my wife isn't materialistic, then, we'll be good. Because if she is, it will be a problem. And I'm like, oh my God. Because, of course, Mirla is just that. She's the one with all the name brand designer clothes and saying if her lifestyle changes, it's just, I don't know what the experts was thinking with this. I know they want them to balance each other out, but I just think they playing with fire with this couple. So basically, that is the end of them shopping for their wedding attire. Next up is Brett and Ryan. Ryan, they're prepared for their weddings. She's looking for hers. And also, Jose and Rachel are also preparing for their weddings, and they're looking for their attire. Mirla and Gil are getting ready to get married. She says she wants something tall, dark, and handsome, and all the things she asks for. Okay, so she's hoping for the best case scenario, and then her friend is like, but what if he's ugly? No, she was like, what if he's ugly? She's like, I'll try. Like, I'll still try, even if he's ugly. And basically, she's complaining to her makeup artist, like, I don't like this. What do you do? I don't want the eyebrows you gave them. They was like, Bridezilla has come out, and yeah. Gil doesn't have any family there because his family and mom and everyone lives still in Colombia. So his firefighter buddies are there, and they're just talking. They're the same guys that were with him at the tuxedo shop. And Mirla is saying she just wants a provider, a caretaker. Like I said, her dress is super sexy. Her brother is walking her down the aisle, and as soon as she gets in, her thoughts are, OMG, he's bald. So this is when they're showing us a clip, and then they go to commercial break. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So he looks at her very appreciatively, like he likes what he sees. He's happy. And she says, my husband is bald, but I'm open to it. So I'm like, okay, she just shut it down. Because I was like, Gil is a handsome guy. You want to talk dark and handsome. He's all that. He's just bald. But he doesn't look bad bald. It's like a good bald. So, they basically says that she is a true romantic. So Gil, her family wants you to know that she's a true romantic, hard worker. She loves giving back. Even if she'll be wearing designer clothes at a charity event, getting clothes for the homeless or something. So I'm like, okay, they had to throw that in there. Gil's friends tell her that, well, one, they looking crazy. Or they said, and she loves her favorite pastime, which is shopping. When I say every time they mention something materialistic, his friends put their hands down. They like, oh my God, this is not going to be good. Because the one thing he did not want was materialistic. And when she put in her vows over and over again, I'm like, oh my God, girl, listen. You could like nice things, but you don't have to talk about it all the time. So his friend says, I want you to know that he loves tequila. He's a life of the party, which is what he was on his bachelorette party. She was sitting there judging everybody else. I'm like, oh my God, he liked that fun. He liked to dance. She gonna be a stick in the mud. This is just too much. So I'm skeptical about this connection. He says he has a dog. They say he has a dog. And she says, is he slobbery? I was dying. I'm like, oh, you can tell she's not a dog person. Because I'm not either. But I probably would have been like, oh, wow, that's going to take some getting used to. Trying to make it. She was like, is he slobbery? She didn't say, I love dogs or anything like that. I was like, oh, my God, Mirla. And she says her vows. And in it somewhere, she says something about her red bottoms. In her wedding vows. Again, the friends was like, his guy friends is not having it. They not liking it. And you could tell every time she said something or somebody in her family said something about materialistic things, they were not feeling it at all. So she says she's attracted to her husband and he's dressed nicely. And then she's like, well, of course he's dressed nicely. Who dresses bad at a wedding? So they both do speak Spanish, which she's appreciative of. They did go back and show where he spoke to her mom. He said his mom only speaks Spanish, and so he asked her to she does. So that was something cute they have in common. He spoke Spanish to her mom, and I'm sure she was surprised to see this. It looks like he's a black man. He's Colombian, though. Speaking Spanish to her because she may also only speak Spanish. I'm not sure. They didn't say that. She said that Mirla said she's an educator. She used to be a principal, and now she teaches principals. And he's happy because they can build. He also likes to give back and charity. And she says, because her dog doesn't shit, because he does ask about it being, about the dog. And he's like, oh no, he does shit, but I'm such a neat freak, so you don't have to worry about it. And I'm like, here she goes again, making this whole dog situation a bad thing. So next up is Brett and Ryan. So Brett hopes he has an open heart and that he loves dogs and that he will be open to the dogs if not. And then Ryan is hopeful. His friend is joking and he says, you'll probably say I love you in 1.7 days. They're saying he's super sensitive. Pastor Cal says that Ryan is sensitive. He's not just a bro, and that Brett is super romantic, and Brett wants someone to be active with, so he wants somebody that'll work out with him and do all these things with him. And so I think they could be a good couple. So Brett and Ryan actually exchanged gifts. Since her mother flowers is a lovely arrangement, and it says to my future mother-in-law, which is so cute, so sweet, and so thoughtful. Michaela and Zach did not exchange gifts. We know that Bo and Johnny did, and she was mad about the jerseys. And then he also got Brett like a pair of sneakers. And I think it's because he said he wanted her to be active. And I was like, oh, well, she could put those on at the reception if her feet start hurting. I can't recall, but I don't think she got him a gift in return. And I believe we stopped there, and we will see their weddings next week. So, guys, let me know what y'all thoughts are so far on these couples. I am liking Bo and Johnny. I do think they're going to have a little back and forth for a little bit because they're stuck in their ways, and like one's OCD and all this stuff. And then Michaela and Zach, I think they really like each other, and this could be a star couple. Now that Mirla and Gil, they are like, right now for me, they're at the bottom. Brett and Ryan have a good chance as well. So let me know what you guys think. That is all we have. We still have more couples getting married next week, and I can't wait to just get into the whole scheme of things so we can see what they think about finances, how the honeymoon goes, how they interact with one another, like all that good stuff that they learn about being married in the first 8 weeks of being married before they get to decision day where they decide if they're going to stay married or if they're going to get a divorce. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for coming back. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, share my videos. Like, come back. We're going to be doing Bachelor in Paradise in August when that jumps off on the 15th. We're currently reviewing Put a Ring on It on the OWN network. And also The Bachelorette season 17. We're on Katie Thurston's season, and she's at the end. We're going to do Hometowns followed by the final and after the final rose. So definitely come back and see us. Until next time, see ya.